What is up, nerd fans? It's your boy Hunter here from Film Nerd TV. Wrestling fans alike, we are here for the wrestling news takedown, episode 3, and tonight we are talking about all the news in WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, and we're also going over Wrestle Kingdom 12, which I thought was freaking fantastic. We'll get to that later, but I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Alex Warren. How's it going, brother?
What's up, Nerd Nation? Yep, we're back again another week. Hopefully we can keep to this schedule because we did have a gap there for a little while. But as Hunter said, this has been a great week. And come on, it's Wrestle Kingdom week. Of course it was a great week. But it wasn't just Wrestle Kingdom week. We got a lot of news from the world of wrestling. New Japan has kicked off a new year of shows. Raw and SmackDown are building up to the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania. So we do have a lot to talk about tonight. So let's not mix words. Let's get right into it. On that note, let's just go ahead and let's start off with WWE because honestly, sadly, it's the least exciting of the two between them and New Japan right now. But last night's Raw did bring us some surprises. Mainly, I want to talk about that current feud for the Universal Championship. I'm going to bite my tongue. Last week's show, I said that this feud was getting very boring. But lo and behold, one good, well-produced backstage segment with Braun Strowman later, and I am really now looking forward to that match at Royal Rumble. Holy shit. For those who didn't catch it, last night, Kane and Brock Lesnar squared off backstage. Braun attacked them both, throwing everything possible, mainly production cases at them. And then out of nowhere, he took a rappel cord and grappling hook, threw it up into the air onto scaffolding that had been built as part of the backstage set, and pulled it down on top of his opponents, while Paul Heyman is standing at the top of the stairs to Gorilla, just on his face. Oh my God! This is turning into just craziness, and I love it. They're making Braun look like $1 million. I love the hell out of it. Hunter, what did you think?
This segment I thought was really good because every guy got to show power and dominance. You had Kane chokeslam Lesnar last week, which they played that before. Lesnar sitting up, like fucking no-selling the chokeslam. So a psychological ploy by Lesnar. And then you got Braun just doing what Braun does. Braun eats people for a living, and it was fucking fantastic.
Oh, man. Like, they are building this perfectly. They are making all three men look like equally strong, equally dangerous monsters. And honestly, that kind of segment, it's what puts it over the top for me. It's similar to when Braun got sideswiped in the ambulance by Roman a few months in the spring last year, and then came back in an ambulance going after him. And of course, the infamous garbage truck from the end of the year last year. Like, they do this kind of stuff with Braun. It does come off as cartoonish, but it needs to because it still makes him look like a monster badass.
The problem that I have with Strowman right now is not him. He's amazing. The booking. He'll always get this strong monster momentum. This strong, looking like a monster, and then when he gets a shot at the title, he loses.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're going to have to eventually.
It's annoying.
It's just the current situation he's in being on Raw. It doesn't help him with Brock having a stranglehold on the belt until Mania, when we all know it's going around Roman's waist. But after Mania, it's open season. And they're making Braun look like $1 million building up to it. He's not going to win the belt at Royal Rumble, unfortunately. We all know that. If he does, it's going to be the shock the world moment that we all need, but it probably ain't going to happen. No. But after WrestleMania, if Braun can stay healthy through this stretch and he doesn't get hurt, after WrestleMania, big things for the big monster. It's going to be amazing. Also on last night's Raw, another thing, and this is more unfortunate news, during the show, it was revealed that Samoa Joe, suffered a foot injury. Undisclosed at the time during the show, but it was diagnosed after the show. He was then rushed for medical attention and is currently scheduled to undergo MRIs for a foot injury. It could be a fracture, it could be a torn ligament in his foot, but it's that type of injury that could take Joe out for a significant amount of time. And that really sucks, because going into the WrestleMania season, and with the current sort of feud he had going on with Roman, him gunning for the IC title along with the returning Miz, losing Joe at this point, it narrows out the mid-card for Raw, and they really need those bodies going into WrestleMania season.
Yeah, sucks because now I think Joe's his in-ring work it's always been great.
Yeah.
But his promo work has gotten so much better. Especially him taking jabs at Dean Ambrose with his wife sitting right there.
The stay-at-home husband joke with Renee
Yeah.
interviewing him, that was great.
Her face was hilarious too. She had to look like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yep. But yeah, to lose Joe at a time like this is unfortunate. Let's hope
he was one of my favorite picks to win the Rumble.
Yeah. Well, he would have been a dark horse pick for me, but definitely someone I'd like to see interesting. And I was really hoping they'd give Joe the IC title going into Mania and let him run wild with that. He should have had a title match last year at Mania. Instead, he was just nowhere to be found on the card, and that's a real shame.
Yeah.
But hopefully this is all just precautionary stuff. Hopefully there's nothing wrong, and he's just going to need maybe a little bit of time off to rest, and he'll be right back in the swing of things before Mania, and we can get Joe in a spotlight match, which he deserves. Anyway, continuing on. Speaking of Raw, over the last couple of days, I've been really interested in this because WWE, to help promote the new Facebook Live program that they're doing,
the Mixed Match Challenge.
They're going to be doing the Mixed Match Challenge. And all but one of the teams for Mixed Match Challenge have been announced between Raw and SmackDown. The last couple of days, they've been pumping out these announcements like crazy, and some of these pairings are just on the nose. Some are just completely ridiculous, but they work. Going down the list by order of announcement, we have from Raw, Alexa Bliss teaming up with Braun Strowman. Like, what the fuck? The smallest woman on the roster teaming up with the biggest man on the roster. Yep. That's just going to be great. Then you've got Charlotte Flair and Bobby Roode from SmackDown. That is perfect.
Yes.
That is perfect.
It's glorious.
Oh, yeah. It's glorious evolution is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Then, in an odd pairing, but still a good pairing, we've got Sasha Banks teaming up with Finn Balor, the Demon Boss. That's going to be a good team. I know they played up the ball. Bayley was pissed off about that one, though. And on a trade, Bayley is now going to be teaming up with Elias Sampson, of all people.
Because Joe's injured.
No, because, Joe was supposed to be your partner. Joe's now injured. He's going to be missing it. So Elias is now taking his place.
I have no problem with Elias, man. I love his gimmick.
Elias's work in the ring has been great. Elias was one of the best things about WWE last year because when they made him go main, they built him right by just having months where he did nothing but show up backstage as a drifter. Yeah. And his in-ring work has been phenomenal. He was always great in NXT in the ring. I actually like the
fact that he's a personal, ring musician for The Miz now, which is hilarious.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have a couple of husband-wife pairings coming from SmackDown as well. We have Lana teaming up with her husband Rusev. Yeah. And if you see the video when Rusev found out with Aiden English serenading it to him, that is some of the best stuff SmackDown's produced in a while.
I gotta look that up.
Go watch it. It's really good. And then on the heels of that, they also announced that Naomi will be teaming up with her husband Jimmy Uso, which is a really good pairing. That's going to be a dangerous pairing too, because they are both really talented in the ring when they getting to work with each other. Seeing as they train together, that's going to be a really good matchup. We also have Nia Jax teaming up with Apollo Crews, much to her chagrin because she wanted to team up with Enzo, but Kurt Angle forbid him from competing because he had the flu the week they made these announcements. Nice little in-story joke there. We've got a team that I think will surprise a lot of people. Asuka and The Miz.
Yes.
That team could be very dangerous because Miz, you get him in the ring against anyone who has not a ground-based skill set, and he will grind them down. And Asuka, she's proven. Any other woman who's in this tournament, except maybe Charlotte, she's beaten him. Mm-hmm. So she's going to do well there. We also have Alicia Fox and Goldust. Interesting pairing for personality. I don't expect them to make it out of the first round of the tournament, though.
I don't either.
Then we've got Natalya and Shinsuke Nakamura. They were just announced today, and the video to announce them was the perfect little bit of kooky comedy from Shinsuke. I'm not even going to tease it. You just got to look it up. It's really good. And then finally, we have Becky Lynch and Sami Zayn, Team Ginger, as they call themselves. If you've seen the two of them pairing up on Up Up Down Down, if you're a gaming fan, they work well together. I think that's going to be a great pairing. There's only one more team to be decided, and that's based on a fan vote. Carmella will be teaming up with one of the 3 members of the New Day. That is still to be decided by the online voting. So if you have a favorite member of the New Day and you want to see them team up with a Carmella, go on the Facebook page and vote. I put my vote down for Xavier. I want Xavier to get more work.
Yeah.
Hashtag Woods, US champ. Hashtag Woods, US champ. Seriously, I want Xavier to go through that US title tournament. I said it last week when we talked about it. I'm really hoping they pull an upset with Xavier and he gets to go to the final. I really am.
I think it's still going to be between Jinder and Bobby Roode.
I think so too, but I really do hope Woods gets a shot and they put him through.
Xavier Woods would be a pretty good match, though.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. I would really want to see that. Again, we talked about this last week, but I love Xavier Woods. I think from day one, WWE has misused him up until the New Day stuff. And even with the New Day stuff, he doesn't get to be in the ring and show off a lot. He's really talented.
Big E and Kofi that do most of the teamwork for New Day.
But like, go back 2 years ago when he answered one of Cena's US Open challenges, and he put on a great match with Cena. And then Hell in a Cell, he was in the ring with Big E during that match, and he was phenomenal in that match with the US.
Like, I want to really hope something from Raw real quick, though, a segment that I absolutely loved. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first match of the Woken Matt Hardy gimmick.
Yes, it was. They announced it as such.
And the reaction that he got when the pianos hit.
Yeah.
And the crowd just erupted. I was just like, this is over.
This is perfect. Great. It's kind of redeeming too, because I know a lot of the trepidation WWE had with bringing in the Woken gimmick is they didn't think the fans would react to it.
Oh, they did.
They were scared that they waited too long to pull the trigger, but this proved that's not the case at all. They are striking while the iron's hot. People still remember, they still love it, and they still want more of it. So hopefully this isn't just a flash in the pan thing going through Mania, and then when Jeff comes back, they keep it going, go back to the old way.
Brother
let's
Nero,
hope this keeps going. Let's hope Brother Nero happens.
But
there's been talk.
His gimmick is kind of funny though. He's like 0 and like 100 something, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 0 and 157 now, I think. He's on the road to 0 and 200 is what they're pushing.
Yep.
Get there by the pace they work, he'll probably be there by June.
Let me talk about one match that I thought was actually pretty good. And I did not expect it. The ending kind of soured it for me, but the Cruiserweight Championship match.
Yeah. I mean,
Cedric.
That was good, and I really am glad it's going to lead to the rematch at Royal Rumble where they can maybe have a few more minutes to shine. But real life kind of getting in the way with Enzo getting busted up and them not being comfortable continuing the match. I understand the way they did it. It was kind of weird, though. They didn't just want to say, okay, no, he's busted open. This is stopped due to blood. We're not letting this continue. Don't just try to then push it for another injury as well. That's the problem I had with it. It should have just stopped with the bloodletting. Not playing up. Oh, and he also busted up his leg. He can't keep going. That was just a bit much. It's a bit overkill when they do stuff
like that. What I would have done is I would have made it to where Enzo lands flat doing the move from Cedric, which always looks incredible, by the way.
Yeah.
His thighs not even hitting the ropes, just diving over. Always looks beautiful. He hits that, and then it's at 9. Cedric gets in. Enzo's like, he's almost there. He goes, nah. Gets counted out.
Yeah.
Good heel move, sets up for a rematch. Cedric wins. It's kind of predictable, but if it sets up for a great Rumble match.
Let's hope that's where it's going, because honestly, it was a bit of a cop-out. I think it would have served them even better if they sold it the right way of Enzo having to stop the match because Enzo's bleeding. That would have sold maybe a bit better as like Enzo allowing that as his out, knowing he was going to be beaten. But we'll see. Hopefully, we get a good match at the Rumble. They give him like 15 minutes, even if it's on the pre-show. Give him 15 minutes. Let Cedric show what he can do. I think Enzo's going to retain right through Mania currently, but that's the way I always think this time of year is, unless they've had some sort of hotshot booking plan.
Yeah.
Let the champs keep the belts till Mania, and then let Mania be the big spectacle.
Sorry. One of the dumbest decisions on Raw was having the Bar lose to Titus Worldwide.
Especially after announcing they're going to get their title rematch at Rumble. Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
That was kind of dumb.
maybe it was just me getting overexcited, but I kind of thought since we didn't know who their opponents were going to be, I was like War Machine. War Machine.
Yeah,
Already
too quick
signed.
for that.
War Machine.
Too quick for that. I don't think we'll see War Machine probably until
Apparently
February.
Apparently they're going down to NXT, which if so is a dumb decision.
Let's hope that's not the case. Like the
I was
rumor
reading somewhere and it said that both War Machine and Ricochet are going down to NXT.
Ricochet and NXT makes sense. War Machine doesn't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Ricochet will work well with the guys in the main event scene and the mid card down there to build to the WWE style. But War Machine makes no sense. There's really nobody in NXT other than AOP who can hang with them in terms of their physicality.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe they do like a one shot
Sanity, but
like a one off AOP versus War Machine match, and then.
Well, I mean, they'll go to NXT anyway. They got to go to the Performance Center for intro training, and then work with CFO Cash for their theme and all that, and work out their look and stuff. But they don't need to be wrestling in NXT.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I brought this up last week or not. I don't want to see Ricochet in WWE right now on the main roster.
I want him in NXT. I agree.
I want him in NXT, not the main roster, because they'll just put him right in the cruiserweight division. He'll be forgotten.
Yeah.
And he's such a great talent that that's going to be wasted. It's just like Cedric Alexander. I was super hyped to see Cedric because I watched him through Ring of Honor and a little bit in Japan and stuff like that. And then he gets there. He has a breakout performance in the Cruiserweight Classic, and now he's stuck with 205 Live.
Yeah. Well, stuck. That's the problem with it is WWE is kind of sadly proving with this and the UK Championship from last year. When they do the tournaments, they don't really know how to capitalize on the aftermath of it.
I actually think that they capitalized good on the UK scene by having it on the NXT for a little bit and letting the fans get used to it. And I hope they actually keep it on there and bring out the UK Championship for big takeover events, and then you can also set storylines through there.
I'd rather just see them use Pete Dunne on the main roster and be done with it.
I don't know, because then again, he's just going to be put down in the Cruiserweight division.
Not necessarily. A guy like Pete Dunne, he can hang with the heavyweights, and he's proven that throughout his career. The first match he had was against
Enzo. Yeah, that's right there. They're going to put him right in the Cruiserweight division. They're going to make him useless.
Well, it's because of his nickname. He is the Bruiserweight, after all. But I think he's one of those guys who can transcend the Cruiserweight division and work up to a main roster spot. Similar to Neville, which is what he wanted to do before, and they wouldn't let him, so he walked away.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that's another piece of news we should cover. A couple of weeks ago, the rumor came out that Neville was going to be coming back to TV, building up to the Royal Rumble. But since then, apparently talks have broken down, and he's now negotiating his WWE release.
Okay.
So to me, that's the end sign. I think he's finally just had enough of the back and forth with WWE. They really do want him to stay in the Cruiserweight division. And let's be honest, when he came back in 2016, went to the Cruiserweight division and went heel, that's some of the best work of his career in WWE. Oh, yeah. But he hasn't had consistent good opponents to work off of because they won't let anybody. The problem is they won't let anybody stay up with him on the same level for an extended period of time. When they tried it with Austin Aries let his ego get the better of him and he walked away from the company. So they didn't trust anybody else. Yet they've got guys like Cedric, like a Brian Kendrick, like Tony Nese, Drew Gulak. If you brought in a Ricochet, that'd be a great position to have him in. Instead, they just made the hot shot decision to put Enzo in the Cruiserweight division because of all of his heat and then have him win the belt and turn him heel, which has since made the Cruiserweight division just completely flip. It's made no sense since then.
I don't know, because it seems like once they announced 205 Live, I watched the first episode, I was like, okay, this is entertaining enough, but I don't watch anymore because I don't care. They don't give time to the Cruiserweights to make me care about who they are. And when they were on Raw, they were literally the piss break matches.
Yeah. The problem they've had is that the Cruiserweights have to work harder than anybody else because they have to work 5 days a week in a row with the touring matches from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, working TV on Mondays, and then being at Tuesday for the After SmackDown taping live. It's too much for them. They need to kind of pare down the schedule and figure something out for it. Even if it means pre-taping 205 and having it air on After SmackDown as a taped show, maybe that would work better for them. But
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing we can get into talking about on maybe like a special show or something in the future.
About Neville leaving though. I'm actually glad that people aren't afraid to leave WWE now. And they're not afraid to just stay there because they know. I mean, look at Cody.
Yep.
Look at Austin Aries he's still around in the indie scene. He's making his way around. But those guys aren't afraid to leave and say, no, I'm not going to be treated like this, or I think I should be up higher. Like Neville, he's like, no, I helped the Cruiserweight division, and now you're hot-shotting the belt around, not making any sense.
Yeah.
So he walked out. I'm glad that he can be able to be like, no, I'll go to Ring of Honor if I want to. I'll go to these other indie promotions and make my own way like Cody did.
Yeah. Like the thing I'm looking forward to the most with Neville is when he gets his release, the very first thing I'm seeing is when is he signing up for PWG? Is he in Bola this year? Because Neville, if he's in Battle of Los Angeles and PWG this year, holy shit, that makes that must-see wrestling.
Yes, it does.
Great. All right. But we've talked about WWE for enough because the biggest news of the week has come from the other side of the Pacific. People, last week, January 4th, Wrestle Kingdom 12 went down, and oh boy, was it a big night. Now, let's just go through match by match and just give quick thoughts on this because we could probably spend all night talking about this, but frankly, I've got to work in the morning and I don't want to be exhausted for that. Yes. So, first off, we didn't touch on it in our predictions from last week. There was the New Japan Rumble, which did have a couple of surprises. Firstly, the huge support for Cheeseburger from the Japanese audience.
Yes, he is over.
He was over like Rover. They love Cheeseburger. And he's not even a full-time New Japan guy. He's an ROH guy. Mm-hmm. That tells you how much having a good gimmick and a good character can get you over in Japan. And that was amazing. But the match itself was won by Masahito Kakihara, who dedicated this to cancer survivors, which is a great move for them. Mm-hmm. He is a cancer survivor, and he deserves all the credit in the world for coming back and being in that spot. That was great. But the action truly started off on the show, as it always does, with the junior heavyweight tag titles. Roppongi 3K defending against the Young Bucks, and Matt and Nick Jackson are now the legendary seven-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions. This match was the perfect pace setter for the night. Mm-hmm. Matt and Nick, as always, put on one hell of a show. And while I personally am upset that they gave them the belts and didn't give Sho and Yo a defense, I think Sho and Yo put on one hell of a match, and they did great work in that. A lot of people said the only criticism they can really give is everything looked like a finish, but that's what junior heavyweight tag wrestling is. Everything is high impact. Everything looks like it could kill you at any given moment.
I didn't see it that way. If anything,
I didn't either, but that's the most criticism I've heard is a lot of high spots that could finish off most regular cruiserweight match or junior heavyweight matches.
The way I look at it, like, this team match was really good because it mixed the high energy, high junior heavyweight tag team style with a lot of technical, joint manipulation style with Matt and Nick Jackson targeting the knees and the legs and the ankle. Yeah. And then Sho and Yo doing the exact same thing back to them, targeting the lower backs, targeting the legs. And then the great spot of, I believe it was Matt who has Sho in the sharpshooter. And then Yo has Nick in the sharpshooter, and they're just going back and forth.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, just great spots. But that's just it. You don't watch a Young Bucks match to see a technical masterpiece. You watch it because you love the spots. And that's exactly what Matt and Nick bring to the ring every time. And if you don't like that style, well, then there's only two things you can do about it. Nothing and deal with it, as our good friend Jay Washington would say. But yeah, once again, Young Bucks getting the legendary 7th title reign. And if you watch Being the Elite this week, they celebrated it in style, and it was hilarious. But we can talk about that in a little bit because that ties into what happened at New Year's Dash, and we're going to talk about that after this wrap up. Mm-hmm. Next on the card, however, then we had the gauntlet match for the never openweight 6-man titles. And in what I thought was an honest surprise,
Chaos.
Team from Chaos, Beretta, Ishii, and Toru Yano withstood everybody after entering second in the match and won the whole damn thing. That was some really good stuff. Finish was my favorite part. with Beretta having already taken a gun stun, reversing one into the Dude Buster and getting the win for Chaos. That was one of the best spots I've ever seen Beretta pull off in his whole career.
One of my favorite spots of this match was Tomohiro Ishii lifting up Bad Luck Fale for the Brainbuster.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ishii, you got to respect that dude. His power game is beyond for a dude his size.
Dude, he's awesome.
Yeah.
His match against Kenny Omega at the G1 USA, fantastic match.
Yeah. Like, it's weird because I love Beretta and Ishii as singles competitors. I love Beretta's match against Omega at Power Struggle.
Yes, that was a good one.
Talk about how good that match was because of what happened with Jericho in the aftermath. But Beretta took Omega to his limit. He was great. But yeah, here they get the six-man title, defeating Bullet Club and outlasting every other team. Not surprisingly, Raymond Rowe took the fall for War Machine, but the look on his face afterward kind of spelled everything out of, that's it, we're done. And you could tell that War Machine's on their way out, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and we talked about earlier tonight. Then we had IT from Suzuki-gun taking a Toru Yano roll-up for an elimination. Ryusuke Takaguchi himself taking another Yano roll-up. Yano was putting in some work in this match.
Yeah, he was.
People love him as a comedy wrestler, but they forget he's got to be good sound technically to make the comedy work, and he really is sound technically.
Let's talk about that ode to Nakamura Shinsuke.
Yeah. That was just so out of nowhere, but so well done. It was so
That was so funny.
And then the finale, as I already talked about, Tama Tonga going for a second gun stun on Beretta, and then seeing it reversed, and then eating a Dude Buster from Beretta. That was just phenomenal work by Beretta to get the win. And that match to me...
Got that one wrong, though, on our predictions.
We did. We both had Bullet Club retaining, and I'm going to get to that when we go into New Year's Dash, because I'm a little sour about that one. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Next up, we had the match that was supposed to be for the ROH title, but instead was just a special challenge match. Kota Ibushi versus Cody with Randy Rhodes.
Good match.
This was a great match. These guys proved why you don't need WWE to be a big name. Cody, we've all talked about it. Him walking away from WWE was the best decision that man made for his wrestling career. Same with Kota Ibushi. Kota was tied in, and he was originally going to be the guy who wins the Cruiserweight Classic until he would not sign on the dotted line for a full-time deal, because he knew they'd be putting him in a pinhold Cruiserweight show. So he walked away after the Cruiserweight Classic, lost in the semis, and then since then, he's been amazing. He's put on matches all across the world that are phenomenal caliber, and this match right here proved it. Two spots in particular I want to highlight. One, the crossbody over the top rope onto Cody, Brandy on the outside.
I think I know the second one.
He picks up Brandy like he's concerned for her, and then Cody out of nowhere sees it, and in a fit of jealous rage, pops him one, knocks him out. And then the
smile by Brandy.
Yeah, and then the second, when Kota took the crossroads off the ring apron onto the floor.
He landed on his head.
Devastating. And then he still gets up, reverses a crossroads into the DDT, and then finishes it off with the Phoenix Splash. And this is why Seth Rollins can't use this move anymore, because nobody does it better than Kota Ibushi.
No, man, that was perfect.
This was a great match.
This match has a lot of backlash. People are like, oh, it's not that good. I don't know why. This is a great match.
I think it's just jarring psychologically because they go both the great work on the outside and the great work inside the ring. But you had matches on this card that did both better. And that's the problem. When you're comparing it to the rest of
this was a sleeper hit.
This to me is probably my second or third favorite match of the night.
This is my third.
In all honesty. All right. But yeah. I picked Kota Ibushi in that match, and I got the pick right. Yep. So I'm very happy with that decision. The second Cody dropped the ROH title, I knew Kota was going to go over in the next match.
Which, again, Cody has nothing to be ashamed about. He put on a hell of a match.
All right, moving on then. Next, we have the heavyweight IWGP tag team titles with Killer Elite Squad, Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith against Evil and Sonata from LIJ. And in the first match for LIJ of the night, they bring home the gold. Honestly, not the best match I've ever seen from either team, but it didn't have to be. It was all about the atmosphere. And Sonata and Evil proved why they ran roughshod through the World Tag League, bringing home the gold. Honestly, Not really much you can say about this match other than legit.
LIJ got their ass beat midway through that match.
Oh yeah, they played faces in this match. If anything, like you could tell, the crowd in Tokyo was 100% behind LIJ the entire night, and this was the start of it. And the fact that they're supposed to be the evil ones, they come out dressed in all black. Evil, for God's sakes, he comes out in the black and silver robe with the giant sight.
Yes, dude,
that was ridiculous.
That's amazing.
But they played it out well, and just such good work by both teams. Again, compared to the other tag matches we saw on the night, not the best, but it didn't have to be. It's all about the atmosphere at the end with LIJ picking up the win, and we both had LIJ winning in that match, so we both got the prediction right there. And my co-host has disappeared for a moment, so I'm going to give Hunter a moment here. Live on the internet, folks. Unfortunately, we don't really have the editing to clean this up after. I should probably just pop on YouTube and see if anyone's watching live. Let's figure that out. Yep, and no one's watching us live, so hopefully Hunter can maybe take this down and clean this up in editing.
Sorry, guys, my laptop was dying. I got my charger.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. So, giving Hunter a moment here to clean up, get his audio, get set up there.
I'm good. You good?
Right. Well, all right. Let's move on to the next match on the card. After that tag match, we had the never open weight singles championship match. No seconds and hair versus hair between Hiroki Goto and Minoru Suzuki.
This was hard fucking hitting.
I thought people were going to die in that match.
It looked like it.
There was that one point where, and I've seen both the pay-per-view feed and camera feeds from fans, Suzuki went into the crowd after Goto, and I legit thought he was going to start swinging at fans with a chair. Like, that was madness.
Oh, fuck.
Like, all credit to Goto hanging in on that one. Like, I thought they were going to have to stop that match because he was legit knocked out twice.
Yeah, but Goto hit, what was it, the PK, the penalty kick?
Yeah, he hits a PK on him. Then afterward, Minoru goes to hit him with the sleeper. He breaks out of it, hits an inverted GTR, and then a super GTR, gets the win, wins the never open weight title. And in the aftermath of it, he goes to sit him down to shave his head. And Suzuki is just like, fuck you. And then he shaves his own head.
Yep.
That's Minoru Suzuki to a T. But this was just, it's what it needed to be. Never Open Weight is known for being hard-hitting physical matches, more so than anything else in Japan. And this just took it to another level. Like, for two guys...
I legit thought people were going to die, like you said.
Yeah.
It was...
But credit...
That's how we... Through the match is like...
Get away from the fans. Get back in the ring. What are you doing?
Get in the ring!
But no, for two guys who are in their 40s, Suzuki, in his case, he's in his early 50s, they proved they can still hang. Like, two 20-year vets of the biz, these guys proved they are still two of the hardest-hitting motherfuckers in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And we both picked Goto to win this match, so we both got a point on the board for that one. Now, next up is a match that I'm personally going to talk about a little bit, but I'm going to let you gush because I know you loved it. The junior heavyweight singles fatal four-way between the champion Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay of Chaos, Hiromu Takahashi, and the time splitter, Kushida. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one because I know this is one of your favorites of the night.
Oh, my God. This is one of my favorite matches of the night. It was so high energy. You had non-stop action. You had hard fucking hits. You had everything. You had a fucking moonsault from the top of a thrust on the outside by Will Ospreay, who was a fucking madman, by the way.
Yeah.
Just, you had technical, you had high flying, you had strong style, and a big surprise. The story finally ends. It's no longer death, taxes, and Marty beats Will. No more. Will Ospreay hits the Oz Cutter on Marty Scurll to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship after what I thought was just a fucking fantastic match. Plus, Takahashi hit 2 back-to-back springboard powerbombs from the inside to the outside of the ring. Fucking beautiful. I love this match.
For me, the only qualms I have with this match are, personally, I think the wrong man won. Because I think they're relying too much on the Marty Scurll Will Ospreay feud from outside of Japan to build the story between the two of them here. I personally think they would have been better served having either Kushida or Takahashi get the belt and continue their amazing feud from last year over that title. Personally, I think it should have been Takahashi's night. That's why I picked him to win. I will say this, though. The match itself, no qualms against anybody. They, all 4 of them, left everything in the ring, and they were great. And these 4 guys, 3 of them had my favorite entrances of the night. I'm sorry, Kenny Omega. Takahashi doing his best Rey Mysterio impression, just jumping out from underneath the stage with the elevator and coming up. He's got Daryl hanging out of his mouth. He's got his white leather jacket toting behind him while he's wearing the red robe. He just looks like an amazing madman. Then you've got Kushida dressed up in the neon slick future tech coming out for his intro with the smoke awesomeness. And then Marty
with the wings.
The only thing is, if he was able to get his jacket off in a quicker fashion from the top of the ramp, it would have been perfect. But to see him come out, extend those wings, and he spends 15 seconds fumbling to get them off, that kind of it's kind of soured it on me. But the one thing I loved the most was when his music kicked up, and you can hear 30,000 strong in Japan going, woo, woo! That was just perfect for Marty. It was so well done.
Marty is over in Japan, man. He is over.
As he said, the next night on it was one of my favorite moments that nobody caught from New Year's Dash the very next night. A bunch of the Bullet Club guys, including Cody and Marty, teamed up in a 5-man match. And as they were doing the intros, Marty jumped in front of the camera and said, Villain Club, #1 T on ProWrestlingTees.com/Marty Scurll. He is over so hard in Japan. They love the Villain. And I love him too. I didn't like him enough to pick for the match though. But hey, we both got this one wrong. You had Marty winning. I had Takahashi. Will Ospreay took home the gold. I think of the 4.
Can I point out something though? I did say that it wasn't going to come down to either Marty or Will.
You had said that, yes, but you still picked the wrong man, so that's where it ends. All right. Then we move on to a match that had to live up to that, and unfortunately it failed, but it was still a good match. Tanahashi versus Switchblade Jay White for the IWGP Intercontinental title. This one, honestly, not the best match on either man's career, but it was still a good match. It was that match we needed in the middle of the card, building up to the main event, having a big star like Tanahashi come out. He looked like Tanahashi from 5 years ago, despite all the rumors of injury, despite the rumors of fatigue. He looked like he hasn't missed a step since Wrestle Kingdom 6. But Jay White, he is instantly a favorite.
Oh, yeah.
His intro, the entire video package, him with the blades in hand, the crime scene recreation with the red lines like Dexter, and then coming out and that slick look he's got with the checked off pants like it's tick marks for victims. He is selling this character perfectly. In the ring, technically, these two were great. They put on one hell of a show, but they had a lot to live up to from earlier in the night, and they knew they had 2 matches behind them that were going to outdo them. But for what spot they had on the card, they still put on one hell of a good show.
See, a lot of people that I've watched said that this is probably the worst match. No. It's not even a bad match. It's a good match. It's just they had to live up to the Fatal 4-Way match and the Jericho Omega match right after.
Yeah.
That's hard to do for anybody.
It was just a bad spot on the card for them is what it was.
I like Switchblade Jay White. I don't care what anyone says. I think the dude is great in ring. His promo skills do need a little bit of work, but that's something you can fix a little bit later. It's not bad. It's not like Roman Reigns bad where nothing's going to come back from that.
Yeah, that's true.
His promo skills are good. They can be better, and they will get better as he works in New Japan, as he, maybe goes back over to Ring of Honor, does more promo work with the Briscoes and all them. This match I thought was really good. Not, best of the night, no, but it was solid. More than likely, the IWGP Intercontinental Division is usually the ones that have the best to great matches.
Yeah.
This one I thought was great. You had the good storytelling of them going after each other's legs, especially with the and they showed it before in the package, that dragon screw leg whip that Jay did on Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Tanahashi looked sick, and and I like the callback in this one where Tanahashi did that to Jay, and then, like as you said before, hasn't missed a step. Tanahashi looks better than he's ever had.
Yeah.
Especially if you come from last year where he did look kind of fatigued, kind of tired, kind of slowed down a bit. This one was back to the ace.
Yeah.
And this is the ace that I want to see.
Well, that's just it. Like, my whole thought of the match was this would have been a perfect spot to have Tanahashi once again fall to a younger star who is trying to rise above him. But unfortunately, New Japan and the fans, they just can't let Tanahashi go. It's like John Cena. He's so ingrained in the culture of the company that love him or hate him, you got to respect him for what he does, especially in this case, wrestling this match with as busted up a body as he has, and still looking like the old ace. This was still a great match. The problem is when you do compare it to the rest of the card we saw, including the two matches we haven't talked about yet, it does come off as one of the lesser matches of the night, unfortunately. But because so much of the show was great. That's just it, though. So much of the show was great. It's not the worst match on the card by far. Honestly, I would say that was the LIJ versus Killer Elite Squad tag match.
Yeah.
But I would honestly put this as second or third lowest match of the night.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably put this one, to be honest, I'd probably put this one just for technical ability over the Young Bucks match. Just because they say it's more... The Young Bucks are more dedicated on spots, and I love the Bucks for that. But if you're looking at technical in-ring one-on-one wrestling, I'd put that one above them versus Roppongi 3K.
Yeah.
But about, Jay White winning, it just wasn't his time, in my opinion. And I said this on my prediction video. He will have his opportunity. They're setting up him and Kenny Omega for the U.S. belt, which is going to be incredible.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit, yeah.
And take nothing away, Jay White was made a star at Wrestle Kingdom. He went toe-to-toe with the ace of New Japan and came that close to winning the belt.
All right. But yeah, ultimately, I still think that would have been the great spot for Jay to get that little push and put him over the top. But considering what's coming up for him, maybe this was the better call.
Yeah.
All in all, though, great match between the two. I had picked Jay White to win. You picked Tanahashi. You got the pick right on that one. So moving on, we then get to next on the card, Alpha versus Omega. Kenny versus Chris. We don't even really need to talk about it. All I'm going to say is, if you have not seen this match, see it. I don't care how you do it. Buy New Japan World. Look it up on YouTube. Look it up on Dailymotion. Hell, go find a satellite dish that lets you hook into Japanese TV and watch it on some other replay. It's probably going to replay on Access TV in the next couple of weeks if you have cable. But just see this match from intros to the final bell. This
Spoiler alert. I want to go into more details.
Well, we're kind of getting long on time here. I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but still, from intros to the end bell, this is some of the finest pro wrestling in every single aspect you could want from a pro wrestling match.
All right. Since we are cutting short on time, let's just go into some of our best moments of this match real quick, like bullet points.
Bullet points, I will say the opening sequence. Jericho going after him before the bell, right as soon as the bell rang, and having to be separated by the Young Lions, the Young Bucks, and everyone at ringside.
Speaking of Young Lions, Young Lions went flying everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Referees went flying.
Oh, yeah. The spot where he shoved Red Shoes. And then Red Shoes' son comes out to defend him. And then he puts him in the walls and then transitions it into the Lion Tamer outside in front of the announce table. The fact that you had Jericho throw Omega out of the ring over the barricade into the English announce table, and Kevin Kelly and Don Callis went dark for 2 minutes to sell it. They did their selling there too. Then you had Kenny Omega's comeback. There was the point in the match where they started to break into comedy when Kenny grabbed the cold spray.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Sprayed Jericho in the face with it and then started refreshing himself, puts it down his pants. Ooh! Just great work from Kenny. But my favorite moment was the closing moments. When Omega started the finish sequence, V-trigger, one-winged angel, Jericho gets the rope break.
Oh.
And then he comes back, he goes for the lion salt. Kenny throws the chair at him, hits the chair on the ground, V-triggers him, grabs him from the ropes, and then hits him with the one-winged angel onto the chair to finish him off. And you can tell at the end of the match, both men had enough for the night. They had enough. This match was not going any more than 40 minutes because they just did too much. But it's what it needed to be.
I want to point out the fact that no one thought Jericho could go over 30 minutes. And he went almost 40 minutes.
Exactly.
With the best in the world, Kenny Omega. And I don't know why, but this is just like kind of, small detail. I love the fact that Jericho came out to Judas by Fozzy, which is one of my favorite Fozzy songs. I love Judas.
Personally, that was a great spot. I also love that Jericho retweeted a fan-made meme from after the show. The scarf of Jericho for $750. The jacket of Jericho, $15,000. Coming out to your band's song in front of 30,000 strong screaming your name.
Priceless.
Absolutely priceless.
Yeah.
But not to outdo him, Kenny had intro of the night coming out in the Stargate-inspired gear, the Anubis headdress, the giant fucking light-up gun, just looking like an absolute complete and utter nut, but selling it 100%.
Oh, dude.
Some people still prefer his Terminator entrance from last year.
I do too.
I think this one was just a little bit more Kenny that we see behind the scenes and a little bit more of his own personality coming out. This was great.
Yeah.
And everything about this match screams, this is why we love pro wrestling, because it had everything. Technical ability, amazing mat work, great strikes, comedy, just everything you can want from a wrestling match, all into one package.
The greatest line is when Omega has the ropes in the walls, and Red Shoes is trying to get him off. Jericho goes, "No DQ, you idiot!"
And then later he uses a rope, break to break a pin, which was perfect use by him. Yes. It was so well done. The only thing that could have been better is if he did a Kevin Owens and just used his
I was like, just
hit the rope.
Finger. That would have been hilarious.
Pinky finger. Outdo Owens with his tiniest finger. That's the only way I would have improved that match, is Jericho's rope break should have just been a pinky finger.
The pinky.
But that being said, we both had Omega in this match. We both got that right. The writing was on the wall for it, because we all thought this was a one and done for Jericho. But again, we still got to talk about New Year's Dash, and we will get to that in a few minutes, because we have one more match from the card to go over. The heavyweight championship match, the main event of the night. The G1 Climax winner, Tetsuya Naito of Los Ingobernables de Japón, against the leader of Chaos and the legendary champion of New Japan, Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker. Now, there was no way in hell they were going to live up to the Jericho Omega match, but these two proved why they are 1A and 1B in New Japan.
45 minutes.
45 minutes, and neither man let up the entire time.
No.
So many great moments in this match. From the opening sequence onward, with the two of them going at each other with strikes, feeling each other out just the littlest tiny bit, and then that moment when Naito is just like, laying down in the ring, going tranquilo for the first time in the match. Just so perfect pace setting.
Let me say something real quick, though. I love the storytelling of this match, especially when, Naito goes in there being calm, cool, collected. And as the match goes forward, you see him losing that. He starts to lose his anger. He attempts a Stardust Splash. He always misses that, but he's getting desperate. He's going for moves that he knows he's not going to hit because he can't finish off Okada. He can't finish him off. He attempts that. He misses. He hits the Destino?
Destino.
Yes, he hits that. He pins him, kicks out. He goes forward again, gets reversed into a Rainmaker. And that is what cost him. It wasn't Okada beating him. it was Naito beating Naito.
It was a Destino that he kicked out at 2.99999.
No,
Then he went for another Destino. That got reversed into the spinning tombstone.
Which then got...
And then he got picked up for the Rainmaker for the finish.
Yeah.
And honestly, as much as it pisses people off, there's a reason Okada keeps winning like this. Because he is the best in the business.
He's the best. Yeah.
And as much as people don't like it, that, yeah, he's Gato's boy, and Gato may have a little bit of too much of a soft spot for booking him, there's a reason why they keep the belt on him and why he is now the longest reigning and overall longest holding title holder in Japan, because he is that fucking good.
Yeah. And see, as you guys can tell, I'm a fan of LIJ, a fan of Naito. And it did kind of make me mad a little bit when, Naito did lose. But I stepped back and I realized this is a great storytelling. As I said before, it wasn't Okada beating Naito. It was Naito getting in his own head and beating himself.
Yeah.
Because he, at one point in the match, you can tell when he was like, I'm done. He snaps. He starts making deadly mistakes with one of the best in the world. And that's what cost him. It wasn't that Okada just beat him. No, it was Naito that beat himself by getting in his own mind and just going for moves, like, as at the Stardust Press, which he can never hit. He's never hit that. And he starts going back to the old Naito. The young Naito, who keeps making dumb mistakes. But I think this one's going to lead to where he's going to be like, no, that old Stardust, gone.
Yeah.
Tranquilo.
What we've seen is the build start for the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 13. We are going to see this rematch at Wrestle Kingdom 13. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I just want to go back to one point that I wanted to make. As much as people hate that Naito didn't get the win, and the fans were not, there were fans in the arena, you could tell, were not happy that Naito didn't get the win. There's a reason they keep the belt on Okada. It's not just because he's the best in the ring. It's because right now he's been working with everybody as a member, as the leader of Chaos. Whether it's Bullet Club, Taguchi Japan, Team New Japan, Suzuki-gun, or LIJ. You can put him up against anyone who wants to step up as a heavyweight, and Naito's going to give him a great match. That was his entire 2017. You go through his roster of championship defenses last year, some of the names that pop up surprise people, but he has not had a bad match in over 3 years. And this is the other story that people are forgetting. Everyone wants to point out that Naito is trying to get revenge for the fact that in 2014, he was screwed out of the main event of Wrestle Kingdom by a fan vote. Who was the other guy in that match?
Naito.
Okada.
Oh, you're talking about Naito. Sorry. I thought you were talking about Okada.
Okada has had just as rough a road, proving that he is the ace of New Japan as Naito has. And he's the one who's had the belt for most of the time. This is a great story for Okada because you can finally say definitively they both got their revenge for not getting the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 9. And they have now proven that there's a reason they should have been given that spot because they're the ones who stayed with Japan. They're the ones who have transcended Tanahashi, and they are the stars. And Okada is just that little bit much better.
Yep. And now I'm going to do a little prediction for Wrestle Kingdom 13, sorry. But if it is Okada Naito, I see Naito winning as a FU, as a finally, I get my main event spot and I fucking take it. Yeah.
The prediction I have is that Okada holds the belt all the way through Wrestle King the year. He breaks the record of successful title defenses to add on to his other title holding records. And then at Wrestle Kingdom 13, that's when Naito finally climbs the mountain, gets the title shot, and wins.
No more Stardust. No more Kid. Naito.
Exactly. But let's wrap this up because this was a phenomenal show. Overall, of course, I'm giving this show an A. There was only maybe 2 matches on the card that I felt disappointed in watching after, that I felt could have been main eventing lesser shows, but that's just it. The 2 matches I, at the end of the day, would not rewatch could have main evented lesser shows. And those would be the heavyweight tag title match and the intercontinental title match. Every other match felt worthy of Wrestle Kingdom and the biggest show of the year. And the two main events, and let's face it, those were two co-main events, they are all-time favorite matches of mine now.
Oh, yeah.
Right up there. So in our predictions game, however, we do have a bit of an issue because if you watched our last show, Hunter and I went back and forth with predictions. We both tied with 5 correct predictions out of 9 apiece. So right now we agreed that our tiebreaker would be who gets the closest guess to good old Uncle Dave's rating for Omega versus Jericho. Hunter bet 6. I bet 5 3/4. So it really just comes down to, did he love this match as much as Okada Omega from last year? We're going to find out in the coming weeks because Uncle Dave is a little lazy with the printed versions of the star ratings.
Yeah.
But that's going to have to wait. And remember, a reminder to everyone watching, the loser of that bet has to sing a cappella a theme song of the winner's choice.
Yeah.
And I've got a fun one picked for Hunter if I win this one.
Oh, God. All right, so let's go. I'm going to go ahead and give my rating. You guys know I do 1 out of 5 stars. I'm giving this a 5-star. No match I saw on there was bad. There was no slow matches. The LIJ Killer Squad match, it was fun. It was 2 hard-hitting teams go at it. It was probably the weakest of it. I liked the Intercontinental Championship match. I thought it was a great match. I'm giving this a 5. It is worthy of a Wrestle Kingdom. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah. I still have a personal preference for Wrestle Kingdom 11 last year, but honestly, this one is just the tiniest hair below.
Yeah.
It's only those 2 matches that you just pointed out are the ones that I have problems with because I just didn't feel like the overall package was good, and they should. But on any other card, they would have been a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
But compared to everything else on this card, they just felt a little bit lesser. Yep. But here's the thing. This is not where New Japan ends the year. The very next night from Korakuen Hall, we had New Year's Dash. And oh my God, so much good stuff. We had Jay White coming out first in the show and demolishing a young lion just to get everything off of his chest from that frustration of losing to Tanahashi the night before.
Looked nasty.
Oh, that kid probably ended up backstage with ice all over his body after fighting Jay White.
He did.
Yeah. Then we had the match that pisses me off the most, but it's still the best call. We had a rematch of Bullet Club versus the Chaos team for the 6-man titles, and Bullet Club got the belts back the night after. Like, what? That's WWE booking. What the hell? Let that team run with those belts. As much as I was pissed that Bullet Club lost them, getting them right back is just as stupid a move. I'll admit, though, they looked phenomenal doing it. And the gun stun that Tama hit to end the match was just ridiculously good. This dude, I love Tama. Ever since last year's G1 tournament, when he had to face Kenny one-on-one and he showed that little bit of edge, I've been loving Tama ever since then. I was always a fan, but him personally, ever since G1 last year, I've been over the moon every time I get to see Tama Tonga do anything. Yeah. He's been phenomenal since G1 when he got a shot to go one-on-one, go singles, and he's going to prove it again this year, hopefully. Then, just in news-making moments, we had a 6-man tag match of Kota Ibushi teaming up with Roppongi 3K against the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Bucks. The Elite get the win. Afterwards, the rest of Bullet Club come down and start the beat down on their opponents. Cody tries to go ahead and hit the penalty kick punt on Kota Ibushi. Kenny gets in his way and stops him. Afterward, the two of them start going after each other, separated by the rest of the club. Kenny then grabs a mic and says, "We need unity in the Bullet Club. I hope the man I'm about to introduce will bring us that unity." Switchblade Jay White. Jay White comes down to the ring. Kenny gives him the shirt. Jay puts it on and then gives him the hug. And then as soon as they separate from the hug, you can see it. Jay still got Kenny's arm. And he just goes, boom, switchblade. Knocks him down cold. Takes the shirt off and throws it right down at him. No, I can't remember. Are they calling it the Switchblade or the Blade Runner?
No, it's the Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Sorry, I keep forgetting that. I kind of prefer both names for a wrestle, though. Blade Runner.
I do too. It's not bad.
Yeah. But anyway, he hits the finish. Then the very next night at a news conference, he announces that he signed up to join Chaos with Kazuchika Okada and promises Okada, "I'm going to bring Chaos to the U.S. title, but I'm not stopping there, buddy." And then he goes to give Okada a hug, and Okada's like, let's just shake on it.
Let's shake hands. Smart.
And then the main event, however, this is where things get interesting. LIJ faces off against members of Chaos. LIJ picks up the win, and in the aftermath, Sonata leads the beatdown on Kazuchika Okada, teasing that that's the next program for Okada's title. They're going to give Sonata the singles run. Yeah, he went after him, and he just made Okada look like his bitch during that. But then the big moment, the end of the show, after LIJ finished the beatdown, Naito's in the ring with the fans cheering him. Out comes Chris Jericho to throw him out of the ring and start the beatdown on Naito. And that is your next big feud. Naito versus Jericho.
Dude, I'm so hyped. That's going to be good.
Like everyone and here's the thing. This could come at any time. Jericho has confirmed behind the scenes he's not signed a deal with New Japan. He is still apparently in talks to go to the Royal Rumble potentially. So we could see Jericho pop up, make his appearance in the Rumble, walk away after a couple of weeks, and then come back to New Japan in time for New Beginning in Osaka to face off against Naito.
Wow.
That would be something phenomenal if he's able to pull that off. If they'll let him pull it off.
Well, I think Vince won't mind if he...
Vince won't, but other people behind the scenes in WWE may have a problem with it. But we'll see. It's all rumors and speculation. All I know is they are setting us up for Jericho versus Naito. And along with that, Okada versus Sonata, Jay White versus fucking Kenny Omega. And they're teasing the splinter of Bullet Club with Cody trying to take the reins. This New Beginning was one of the best New Beginnings I've seen in a while. And I'm hoping that everything starts to pay off in the coming weeks leading up to New Beginning in Osaka.
Okay, question for you. Do you think they're going to try and make LIJ face faction?
Oh hell no!
The new year.
Oh hell no! They're playing them up as still the bad guys they deserve to be.
Oh, okay. I didn't know because like they're putting Naito up against Jericho, which Jericho's supposed to be playing the heel character. Well, especially in Japan, especially when the fans turn against them, and especially how people are so behind Naito.
Yeah. I mean, you can have Naito's feud where he's kind of reluctantly playing the hero to people, but LIJ is a stable. The whole idea of the stables in Japan is that they're supposed to be the bad guys going up against Taguchi and the other members of random New Japan teams. So I don't necessarily think this turns LIJ face. I think it more so just gets Naito in that position of, I'm the man that people want to see. Why am I not getting the title shot?
Yeah.
Anyway, to wrap things up, though, honestly, all of those matches sound phenomenal, potentially coming up to New Beginning in Osaka, similar to the aftermath we had last year at New Year's Dash, building up to Suzuki versus Okada. But I think, honestly, this is a way better direction for the company. Also announced, they have a lot more shows coming up. We just found out today, thanks to Bad Luck Fale of all people, New Japan's going to be running a series of shows across Australia in February in the aftermath of New Beginning in Osaka. And, of course, G1 2 special in the USA 2 in Long Beach, California is coming in March.
And then apparently you have a Bullet Club special pay-per-view event coming up sometime in May.
Potentially. Cody and the Young Bucks are going to be putting that together themselves. All their buddies are confirmed.
Have you heard who Cody wants to face?
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan. I mean, it won't be for the Ring of Honor title, but it would be.
Well, that's just it. Daniel, if they're doing the show in May, it wouldn't happen because Daniel's under a WWE deal until September. He would have to fight over the next 2 weeks to piss somebody off and get his release to make that work. So I don't see that happening. If they're holding off and doing the show in the fall after his deal's expired, maybe.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see how things play out.
All right, so I have one more question for you. Do you think that New Japan can match WWE?
Not currently. The reason being WWE's global penetration of the audience is right now above anybody else in the world. But this is it. This is New Japan's year where they're taking things worldwide. They're doing the tour of Australia. They're coming back to the US. They're increasing their US presence on television. Bullet Club merch is still the number one seller of Hot Topic. LIJ merch is slowly peeking its way up there with it. This is the year where New Japan are going to finally take the steps to break ground worldwide and make themselves cemented the number 2 promotion in the world behind WWE, which is where they need to be.
Yeah, the only problem I see is doing weekly TV because WWE has Raw, SmackDown every week. New Japan really does big events.
Yeah.
Every month. So I don't know if they'll be able to match up the TV with WWE. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think they need to. The fact that they run events on a consistent basis every month across New Japan World and on Japanese television and now on Access here on cable, you've got enough of a base to build off of to build what you need. The problem a lot of people have with WWE is oversaturation of the product. New Japan gives you just enough with the current schedule of releases and the special events.
I think
it's right where it needs to be.
I do feel like if they got a bigger partner, I mean, Access is kind of a small satellite cable company. Yeah. If they got a bigger one to do kind of what Access is doing, doing recap shows, showing matches, or showing like New Year's Dash, you can show that one as a 2-hour special or whatever every New Year's whatever. You could have something there, kind of like when TNA had the deal with Spike, and they became the #2 promotion for a little bit.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I don't think they necessarily need to try and get to that level where they're directly trying to compete with WWE. But if you're offering a good enough alternative to WWE, which they are right now, if you can just find that little bit of a step to get more eyes on the product, which they have been doing with New Japan World, talk is a lot of the subscribers who signed up for Wrestle Kingdom are being retained already. They haven't seen as much of a drop-off as last year.
Yep.
Hopefully this keeps up, and hopefully globally, the eyes they're getting on the product will continue to grow, and that's all we can really hope for.
Yeah, and I hope more wrestling fans tune in to watch New Japan. It is one of the best wrestling companies in the world, in my opinion.
They are, yes. And that's the end result of the show is no matter what you hear about or what you hear us say, just watch New Japan. It is good. If you love pro wrestling and you love wrestling, New Japan is what you should be watching.
New Japan has how do I put this? WWE is entertainment. It cares about the storylines. New Japan has storylines, but it cares about the pro wrestling.
Exactly.
That's how I'm going to end this. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight for the special Wrestle News Takedown Wrestle Kingdom review show. If you liked it, hit the like, subscribe below. Alex, why don't you go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug?
Yeah, obviously, of course, you all know me here. If you're a fan of the Internet Movie Trivia fandom, you know me from Full Metal Trivia, recently renamed to Full Metal Media. I'm the director of operations over there, hosting matches weekly and helping produce content behind the scenes for all the other awesome movie content we do there. You can also check me out. Just today, I had my first gig co-hosting a trivia match for the new There Will Be Trivia over on Worldwide Movie Games, and I will let you know in the coming weeks, you've got my first match in that league, along with my boy Thomas the True Theens, repping the Omega Club in the teams division, and I promise you, it's something you want to see. We do not disappoint.
All right, nice. And of course, you guys can check out all of our trivia matches, the WTS, MTS, IG, MMA. We just started a comic book trivia show, which we are just run by our own Grant Gregory. We are having a tournament right now to determine the first ever champion. I was in the very first match. It's a good one. Check it out. Again, like, share, subscribe, and check out Patreon, patreon.com/FilmNerdTV. I'm Hunter. That's Alex. And we're Film Nerds. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.